There is a pandemic going on right now. No, I'm not talking about COVID-19. I'm talking about a productivity pandemic. When you're doing work, but you gotta stop that work to go change the Spotify music, and you lose your train of thought. I'm talking about a serious issue. So I, Jake Goodman, master genius computer science wizard, have decided to fix this problem with a Python script.
Here's how you use this. So basically, if you want best results, you should use an external microphone so that the internal microphone doesn't have to pick up both your voice and the audio. This will just make the results a little more precise. Also, if you want a song, you got to specify play. So if you want to play the song Them Changes, you got to say play Them Changes, or album Sgt. Pepper's, or artist Kanye West. Other than that, you just got to run the program and go. So let's check it out. So you run the main file, main.py. Play Them Changes. Album Love Gun. Play YYZ. Artist Led Zeppelin. Play Toxicity. Alright, so now that you've seen the demo, I'm going to walk through the code and explain what's going on. This is not going to be an in-depth tutorial, and if you want an in-depth tutorial, leave a like or a comment and I'll likely make one. But for now, it's just going to be a brief, high-level overview of what's going on here. So, basically first of all, in this in my directory here, there's 3 files I'm using. This text file, which contains setup information, which I'll cover in a second, and then there's this file, which contains just a bunch of useful methods to access Spotify with, but it's just methods. There's no this file is never run. It's like a collection of the methods, a module, if you will. And then this is main.py, which is the file that's actually being executed. So first of all, there's basically 3 phases of this project. The first one is you need to have a way to connect to Spotify. So to do that, you just got to go to Spotify for developers, make an account, and then once you create an app, you get something like this, and you get a client ID and a client secret ID, and these are needed to access a Spotify account. So once you have those, I just put those into this file setup.txt and saying client ID equals that client ID and whatnot. And there's a couple other parameters here. So the device name, Jake's iMac. This parameter is just to tell the Spotify account what to play out of, because Spotify could play out of your computer or your phone or whatever device. So I wanted to come out of my computer. The redirect URI, that's when you first authorize the account. It's just like a dummy link. Doesn't really matter. This is the username to my Spotify account. And then scope. This is just I basically copied this from the docs. I don't quite understand it myself, but I don't think it matters that much. Okay. So now let's go through this. So I suppose I don't even need these imports. So after all the imports, the first thing I did is you set up the variables from setup.txt. So I'm just trying to get all these variables like client ID, client secret. I wanted to get those as variables in the Python file. So I just did that by using a module I'm familiar with, pandas, reading this file, and then getting them to variables here, okay? So that's pretty straightforward. And then to connect to Spotify, this also I kind of just copied from the docs. I'm using a module called Spotify, which is like the module to allow you to connect to Spotify with Python and not know anything about JavaScript or web stuff. So it's a great module. It allows you to just get access to Spotify really easily using their Spotify object. All it takes is an auth manager, which takes in the parameters from the setup file. Okay, so now up to this point, now we have connected to Spotify. We have access to my Spotify account. Then you need to select the device to play from. So an issue I found here was it took me really a long time to figure it out, but there's a difference between this apostrophe character and this apostrophe character. Whoops. And the normal straight apostrophe character. So what I did is I just went through all of the devices that Spotify could play from. I replaced all of these sideways apostrophes with normal apostrophes, so that when I try to evaluate the equality of two different strings, it works as I expect it to work. And then this device name, so yeah, device name is Jake's iMac, so I wanted to go through all of the possible devices, and if the current device is Jake's iMac, then I want the device ID to be that device's ID. So each device has a specific ID, whether it's Jake's iPhone, Jake's iMac. This just gets the proper ID, so it could play from the proper device. Then, so that's done with the Spotify stuff. Then this is using this module, the speech recognition module, because that's the second part. So this is, I guess, the second part of the project where you need to have some sort of speech recognizer, and obviously I didn't want to write that from scratch, so I just downloaded the most popular one on GitHub. It was very easy to use. You just set up this recognizer object, and then there's several different microphones to choose from, so I just looped through all of the microphones. If you did microphone.list microphone names, and yeah, like you saw in the demo that I used this microphone, which is connected to an audio interface called Scarlett 2i4 USB. So if microphone name equals Scarlett 2i4 USB, then I'm setting M equals microphone with this mic, with the Scarlett microphone. Okay, so that's all the setup stuff, and now we get into our infinite loop, which just goes on to run the program. So yeah, commands will be entered in the specific format explained here. The first word will be either album, artist, or track, and then you say what you want. I put this in the comments that the last word may be random, so like you could say album revolver random, and it would play a random song rather than the first song. I didn't implement that feature yet. Maybe I will later, but whatever. Okay, with M as source, so yeah, to use the microphones, you need to do it in this way. It's called a context manager, I think. This adjusting for ambient noise just means that when the speech recognizer, when the recognizer is trying to listen to something that you're saying, it has an energy threshold, and it only starts listening once the sound has passed that energy threshold. So calling this method each time, adjust for ambient noise, just dynamically sets the energy level to like the vibe of the room, rather than just hard coding it in at first. And then that allows you to listen, r.listen. So now audio is, I think it's an audio data object. So at this point, audio doesn't have the words. It's just like however the module organizes it, some kind of audio data object. I'm not quite sure what that looks like internally, but then what you can do is use the method recognize Google, which just converts that audio data object into an array of words. So if that worked as expected, then command now is a array of words. Okay, so then words equals command.split. No, so I guess actually I'm wrong. Command is just a string of what I said. So it's not an array, it's just a string. But then I'm saying making a new variable words, which equals that string split on space. So now words is just an array of the words in the command. And then, yeah, if it was less or equal to 1, then it could not understand. Try again, of course. And then the name, since it's specified that the first thing you say is either going to be a play, artist, or album, then the query that you're trying to search for is from the first word on, because from the second word on, because the first word is just play, artist, or album. So the name of what you're trying to search is from the second word onwards, if that make any sense. And then I'm just checking this just if else statement, see if they said album, artist, or play, and depending on what they said, the URI is either get album URI. Whoa, this should be artist. Get the album URI, artist, or the track URI, and these are methods that I actually wrote in the pepper.py file, which I'll show you after. And then, yeah, all these methods, play album, play artist, play track, these are methods that I wrote in the other file, just to make it more organized. Okay, so let's look at those. So all these albums, they're very similar, very little difference between all of these. All it takes in is the Spotify object, which gives you access to the Spotify account, and then the name of what you're trying to search for, and then it just searches for that, whether you want an artist, a track, or an album, just by using the Spotify.search method, which takes in the query, and then I forget what this limit variable is, but yeah, type album, in the artist, you have to say type artist, and then in the track one, type track. So just by doing that, you just use these Spotify.search. This is a method off of the Spotify module, the Python module that makes it really easy to access Spotify. And to play the album or artist or track, it's just a method on that module. You just say start playback, start playback, start playback. And that's basically the whole project. It's not very long. It took a while to set up because I had to learn all of how to use all those modules and stuff, and it was a little different for me because this is the first project I've done that wasn't just like a CLI application that just like crunched some numbers. Like, it actually used an external application. So it was really fun to make. If you want, a full walkthrough, like from scratch, we rebuild it, let me know in the comments, leave a like, and I'll do it. So that's it for this build. If you want to try it yourself, I've included the link to the GitHub repo in the description of this video. Peace.